Hello and welcome to AltheaSuite. Today I'm going to show you our new orders workflow. To get started, we're going to make sure that we're in our orders module. Once you're there, we're going to go up there to the top left to hit the new button. Once you click that new button, you're going to be brought into a new order page. You can see the first thing up here on the top right is a requested delivery date. This is the date that the customer expects to receive their products. Now, this is just an order phase, so this is at the point where we still need to get the items fulfilled in the system. But this is just more or less the date that the customer expects their merchandise to get brought to them. Below requested delivery date is a status field. This is a user-generated status, and in the settings, I've already defaulted a customer will call be the first status as far as creating a new document comes. The status can be changed at this time, or it can be also changed once we save this order. The next two fields below this is the made by field. So the made by field is going to be the currently logged in user. So I'm logged in right now as Althea Nate. We have the setting in the backend that it takes the made by employee and places it automatically in the associated employee field. The associated employee field is going to be the field where you want to add additional salespeople onto the sale if they're also involved in it. The next field below the associated employee is going to be the customer field. This is where you want to actually add the customer onto the sale. So this field right here is called a lookup value. So we can start to look up partials. So if I type in the customer's first name in, it's going to give me a list of anybody with the name Peggy in my system. Now you can get a little bit more specific by adding a comma right there, and then I'm going to put their last name. Once you put their last name on, it will drill down to what customer that you have selected. Now this is one way you can get this customer in here. Another way to look up a customer is by typing in the customer's phone number. Once you do that, it might take some time for the record to show up, but the system is searching for that phone number, and then once that comes, you can go ahead and click that once. Another way to bring this customer into the field by searching is by searching for the customer number right there. That is just an auto-generated AltheaSuite number, but if you have other previous customer numbers, you can also search for those. Now, once I added the customer into the sale, it brought over all the billing address, and it also brought the shipping address. Yeah. When you first add the customer to the sale, this checkbox might not be selected like that. If that's the case, it's up to you to use the billing address as a shipping or come over into your shipping addresses and drop down the shipping address. Now, if this customer didn't exist in the system, I'm just going to cross it out once. You're always going to have an opportunity to add a new customer with this plus button right here. So as an example, we just hit that plus button once. This will open up a new customer page. Then from here, one of the first things that we need to add is going to be the name. So once the name is in there, the next field that we want to go down into is the email field. Now, in the backend settings, we have it enabled to where we must have an email and we must have a phone number, and the system will not allow us to continue while these are blank. So for the email, I'm just going to type in my email address. Same thing for the phone number. Once those fields there are done, we're going to go down into the address section. Now, we're using a Google Maps API key here, so all I can do is just put my cursor there, and I can start to type out partials. So if I type in the street address first, then this will start to narrow down your address. And then once you find your address, select that by a simple one click, and this will pre-fill the street address, the state, the city, the zip code, and even the county as well. For street addresses that have apartments and the like, you add it in the street address too. Once you get the address filled out, we're going to scroll down a little bit more. Now, in this account, we have a mandatory custom field. This custom field is a field that says, how did you hear about us, for example. So this is another mandatory field that we must fill out in order to continue. So if I try to create this right now, we're going to get this message that says, please fill in the required fields. And it's talking about this field right here. The system does point out with this yellow highlight which field that you need to apply in order to create this new customer. So I'm just going to grab a selection. These are also user-generated, so this is how we're able to get a menu down there. Once all that information is filled out, we're going to go over here and hit that create button. And that's how you get that customer added into this new sale. So brand new customer, you added all the information in. Now, if we need to make any changes to this customer that we just added in or a customer that we selected from our manager, we can always click this customer detail button. Once we click that, that's going to open up the customer detail window, and here is where we can edit information. So if we didn't have the email in there before, here's an opportunity to go ahead and do that. So we can either change some things or add some things, but once you're done, make sure you hit that update button right there to save the changes. Once you get the customer in there, the next thing to do is to go ahead and choose a delivery mode. Now on the delivery mode, we have 3 different choices. Most of the time, if all of your items is going to be shipped to the customer, we want to be hitting this middle one right here. All items will be delivered to the shipping address that we specified up here. So once we click that middle one, then we want to start adding our products. Our products works the same way as customers. We can put your cursor on the right-hand item field and start to type out partials. So if I start to type out this, Twin XL, just like that, you can narrow down and search for the model, or we can look for the item name. But once you find your item, go ahead and click it once, the left click. That's going to add the item down below. Now that's just a basic item. I'm going to add another item in here that's going to be a part of a set. So I'm going to type in the partial of the model number, or SKU. And this narrows me down to this 3-piece cocktail set. So the moment I add this item into the grid, so once I added this group item into here, it added itself with its child elements. So it's brought over the actual table part and then the end table. So 3 pieces make up that 3-piece set. So 1 of those and then 2 of those. Now that we have our items in the grid, before we have specified that everything is going to be delivered to the shipping address, but we can change this per line item. For example, let's say that the customer wants to carry this along with them. So they'll take this with them, and then they'll have these other 2 items be delivered to them to their shipping address. So for this top one, we can go into the little delivery column there, and we want to hit that change delivery button. Once we do that, you can see now we have a pre-selected to be delivered as we previously chosen. So now I want to mark this to be picked up. So the customer is going to come pick this up either very soon, or we can put this on a schedule to have the customer come up at a specific time. But once you select that, we're going to hit save. This is going to change that to be picked up. So our top item is to be picked up by the customer, and then our below 2 items are to be delivered to the customer's shipping address that we have specified above. Once you get the items in there, if we scroll to the right, we do have a column for the notes section. So these can be line item notes. Customer is going to come pick this up later. So once we've specified our delivery functions for all of our items, the next thing to do is to scroll down a little bit. We have something called invoice level warranties. So each of these products that are listed in here, they have a total that comes out as the warranty base amount. So the warranty base amount is looking at the price of all of these items and then adding them up. So the warranty base amount is looking at the total of the invoice, and based off of this amount, we have a few selections we can choose for the invoice level warranty. We could either choose a no warranty, so the customer is going to decline the warranty, or they can choose one of our selections over here. So because this order is between $1,000 and $1,499.99, we now have this selected. Once you select that, you can see now that we have a warranty amount, how much the customer is going to be paying. So once you get your invoice level warranty selected, the next thing to look at is this delivery charge section over here. Works almost just like the invoice level warranty, where we have a drop-down menu. We can either say this is a free delivery, or we want to apply a delivery charge at 5%. So these are user generated. This one specifically is at 5%. So once we click that, we have that amount there. So once you click that apply button, it now turns to a remove button, and then we can go ahead and continue on. So now we have applied a $64.50 delivery amount. There is a tiny little pencil icon to the right of this. So if you want to adjust that, we just click that once, and then we can adjust the delivery amount. So maybe we want it to be 65 flat, for example. Once you get your delivery charge all figured out, this section right here is talking about notes. So these are order notes that will be transferred over into your invoice once you convert this order into it. This order notes will be viewable by the customer, either on the printed out document, or if you send this as an email to the customer, they will also see these notes. The next little section over here is called pictures. So if you want to go ahead and add any pictures that pertain to this order, pictures of your products before they go out, or pictures of the manual, that kind of thing, We do have a section for comments as well. These work a little bit functionally different than the notes section. These comments are tied to the specific order, and the customers will not be able to see that unless they see the screen. And then our other field over here is called customer fields. That's talking about the same "How did you hear about us?" feature that we saw earlier. So once you're ready with this order, we're going to go ahead and hit that create button. And once the order gets created, it's going to land itself in your orders module like you were before.